Hi there, viewers. Today, I'm joining a conversation with author Crain, the author of the memoir Gravel Roads. It's a pleasure to have Ryan featured on P English Literature. Welcome on the show, Ryan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you featured on the show.
Absolutely. The pleasure is mine as well.
Yeah. So, Ryan, you've written a memoir titled Gravel Roads, and this book actually got me curious to ask you what exactly inspired you to write the book.
Oh, wow. That is a potent question. It's kind of multifaceted and varied, like most things in life. But I, in 2018, sold everything I owned and bought a one-way flight, quit my job, bought a one-way flight. And I just wanted to see the world. I just wanted to travel for as long as I could, as far as I could, and just then go back home and start working again.
Mm.
And I did. I traveled for one full year, and I came home right before the pandemic started. And I couldn't find that next step in my career, so I just started writing to process my thoughts and my emotions and my feelings.
Mm.
And so Gravel Roads came about from just that process, that adventure around the world, where I went, what I saw, who I met, the lessons I learned, and then putting that into a word format or a book format was really powerful. It was very, very revelatory and very healing. And it stemmed from just coming home and having so much more to say than people wanted to hear. So it was actually very cathartic for me.
Yeah, I even see from reading the description page of the book in Amazon, it really sounds quite interesting to me. Ordinary with a mere description and the few reviews I read. I also want to ask
Yeah.
you, Rian, for readers like me who haven't read the book yet, and of course the new people just listening to it for the very first time, without giving too much of information away, could we have a sneak of what we'd expect picking up the book?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's divided into two parts. The first part of the book is just kind of the decisions leading up to
Mm.
that year around the world, why I felt such a need to get out and see it now. There was some grief involved. There was the death of a close friend involved, and just
Oh.
I was just reckoning with my life in my early 30s. So that's kind of part one, the decisions leading up to it. And then the bulk of the book, part two, is just that adventure, the travel around the world, seeing and being confronted with some harsh realities of the world, but also some really epic highs as well, and just navigating all of that into one coherent thought. And so most of the book centers around the travel aspect, but I weave in a lot of humanity as well, and what we can learn from each other. Uh, the world is a safer place than most people give it credit for. People
Mm.
are inherently good, in my opinion. We just have to have some common sense and some faith in humanity. And so the book centers around kind of those two aspects, the decisions leading up to traveling the world and then the traveling the world as well.
Oh, that's great. That's quite fascinating. And could you please hold the book and show it to the audience
Oh, yeah.
for to
Yes,
see?
sir.
Oh yeah, Gravel Roads. Looks amazing. And I love the cover
Yeah.
design.
The subtitle forms that long road.
It even
And
shows
then
a map. I think that's a map. Looks like a map.
yeah, yeah, this is the world map. So the different
Oh.
colors you see in Europe and Africa and Asia are the same colors you can see in the Americas. And that's kind of the theme around the book, centered around humanity and how we are all the same at our core. And
Oh.
so I really tried to infuse that into the story. Like, no matter where we are in the world, we have the same basic needs and desires. And seeing it is really powerful.
Oh, that's great. I really love the sound of your book, Grafford Road. It's very intriguing to me. Next, I want to
Yeah.
ask you, Ryan, as authors, we all have different ways of reacting to feedbacks and criticism of our own works. I want to ask you, how do you react to negative criticism of your books if you've ever had one in time past?
Yeah, that's a good question. The reception for the book so far has been really well, but I did receive my first negative rating a few months ago, I think. And
Oh,
I'll be honest, it stung a little bit when I first saw it. Like it really stings here, because it's
absolutely.
writers put their whole heart and sometimes life out into the words, and they're just pouring
Absolutely.
their heart out into it. So it stings. And then I kind of sat with it for a while, and I realized, well, you know what? It Negative reviews just mean more than friends and family are reading it. And we should want those impartial, unbiased reviews. And sometimes you're going to get some negative ones. We can't please everyone, and not everyone will
Absolutely.
resonate with our stories. So
Yeah.
I kind of came full circle and realized, you know what, if I'm allowed to put all of my thoughts and opinions and emotions down into a book, then a reader has full uh, every right to give their authentic opinions about how it resonated with them as well. So the negative comment I received, it wasn't mean, it wasn't derogatory. It was just it didn't resonate with them, and so I just had to accept that and realize, you know what, they have every right to. So, but I
Absolutely.
think acknowledging the sting is important too, because it stung a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true actually. Everybody have their own, ways of reacting to books and ways
Yeah,
of having a book to resonate with them. So it differs with different readers. And
yeah,
you can just go with everybody's opinion. There's some people that would it would kind of stay away from them. And
yeah.
also, Ryan, I realized that, well, I don't know, but to my own perception, I realized that writing memoirs can be so challenging and such a hard work to do. And I'm curious to know if you've experienced any challenges while writing your book, Gravel Roads. If there's any, could you share with us what challenge
Oh,
it is and how you were able to overcome it?
yeah, man, so many challenges. It has been, it has been very challenging just
Oh,
navigating the emotional ups and downs,
hmm.
putting it all out there. I would say there have been many challenges. One of the biggest challenges was just turning that year around the world I took into a story
Hmm.
that strangers would actually want to read. And so I actually wrote I think there are five drafts of the book before it went to publish. And the first draft was just terrible. It was
Oh,
raw, unstructured, no chapters, no themes. And so turning that first draft into what it got to today was really challenging.
oh,
And so initially I was attached to like every story and every place I went. Like I wanted people to know every detail, but I eventually realized, and my co-author who came on helped me realize, you know what, this needs to be a story and it needs to connect, and we have to take a lot of these things out. So
hmm.
I know you're attached to it. I know it was important too, but it just doesn't belong. We have to
Hmm.
take it out. So that was a really challenging part as well. But
Oh,
looking back, it actually made for a cleaner, more a better read, a better
plentiful book.
experience for the reader. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I really love the sound of gravel roads. It sounds quite intriguing to me with this conversation so far.
Oh, I was just going to quickly tell you another the meaning behind gravel roads. It's a
Mm.
play on words of grief and travel. So
Oh.
gravel. So it kind of weaves in the, hey, we're all struggling on some level. We're all dealing with our own personal gravel roads and just navigating that through life. So that's kind of the meaning behind it.
That's amazing. That's very amazing. Also, I want to ask you, Ryan, apart from gravel roads, do you have any other works you've altered or you're currently working on?
No, Peter, I don't. I have started writing a potential second book, but I just stopped about 80 to 100 pages in because I felt
Oh,
like I needed some time and space away from the
yes.
writing process. It was very, very daunting, but at this time, no other works. But maybe in a few years, I'll get the second one out there.
Yeah, and we look forward to that. Yeah, Ryan, I also want to ask you, could you tell us what publishing is like for a published author like yourself? What are the challenges you've experienced so far in terms of marketing your books, and what are the mediums you've utilized so far in promoting Grapple Roads?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question, huh? Like, how can an
Bestseller.
unknown first time author market their book to people? And it's been challenging. I've had some avenues have worked better than others.
Mhm.
I've hired a book marketing consultant. She's had
Oh,
me do several different things. She's had me go onto different platforms and try and build a presence there. I've found though the two best marketing avenues that have worked for me so far, just word of mouth and Amazon ads. Those two seem to be the most consistent drivers of sales. And so I think it's important for readers, or I'm sorry, authors to utilize and experiment with a wide variety and kind of see what works for them.
yeah.
Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of social media. I just don't like using it a lot. And so, but maybe that works for someone else. So for me, Amazon ads and word of mouth have been the most popular, not most popular, the
What's effectual?
most, yes, exactly, the most effective. And then the biggest challenge is just navigating those emotional ups and downs, like getting a
Mm,
review, getting a sale will put you on a high for a
yeah,
while. And then,
absolutely.
when you don't get one for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, you're kind of come back down. And so just navigating those emotional ups and downs is very important.
And I even like that you mentioned word of mouth. That is very important because it's every author's responsibility to keep talking about their books. Hey, I have this here. Would you mind to read it? Would you mind to leave me a review? Would you do this? So it's very important utilizing word of mouth and of course the Amazon ad. I've been using word of mouth for the past few days and I've been seeing a drastic turnout, which of course I'm even intrigued with.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes, like people are busy, people have lives. And I've had to just
Absolutely.
literally directly reach out to people who have
Yeah.
told me they've bought the book or told me they've read the book, but maybe haven't finished, or maybe they have reached out and finished it and gave me their thoughts. So just reaching out to people directly who I know have it on some level, and hey, can you leave me a review, and just
Hmm.
directly asking them, and that's really helped.
That's great. That's fascinating. Now, Ryan, I also want to ask you, is there anything that you love to share with the viewers about your books that we couldn't mention in this interview and you just love the viewers to know about Grapple Roads?
Yeah, I think there's some really powerful stories of humanity in this book.
Hmm.
I had some really profound and special experiences abroad that really just changed not only how I view the world, but changed how I viewed myself as well. And I think it's important for everyone to, I think there's something for every reader that they can take home and that will really resonate with them. And so, like, for example, I had dinner with the mayor of Lagos, Portugal,
Oh.
really profound and special experience. Or meeting my parents abroad in Australia, having a road trip with them,
Hmm.
or just very special moments that touched me. And so I think this book can really meet readers wherever they're at in life and in their journey. And it can foster maybe just a little more kindness and compassion in our kind of ever divisive world.
That's amazing. That's very amazing. Thank you so much for mentioning that. Yeah, I also want to ask you, Ryan, as a published author, what sort of advice do you have for other writers who are still struggling with publishing a book like yours? What do you tell people in this category?
I would say probably the most important thing I can recommend is to ask for help, and don't be ashamed to ask for help.
Absolutely.
Um, in the beginning, I was doing this all on my own. I was just writing and keeping everything to myself. I wasn't showing my girlfriend any of it. I was
Oh,
very secretive and protective of it.
oh, wow.
And then I was on my third draft, and I was about to hand in my third draft to my editor. And I finally showed my girlfriend one story, or one chapter, I think. And I just sent her the chapter and said, I'm not changing anything, just read it, enjoy it, and then, back to work the next day. Well, we woke up the next morning and she comes over and just said, hey, I just want you to read this one story. I made a few small tweaks, like just read it, don't say anything. Well, I read it and I just was brought to tears. She had
Oh,
infused this life and this color into the story
mm,
without taking away from the story or from my voice that I just wasn't quite capable of at that time. And I asked her to come on full time as a co-author and just, can you help me? And she really elevated this book to another level.
Wow.
And so I would say ask for help, whether in my position it's asking for help from for a co-author, whether it's
Mm,
hiring a professional editor, whether it's hiring a professional cover designer. Like, don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, it really does go a long ways.
mm. Wow, that's great. That's very amazing. Thank you so much for that advice. And I'm
Of
hopeful
course.
that myself and including the viewers would love to utilize it. Now, Ryan, where can readers get a copy of your book for in case of anyone who'll be interested in picking it on?
Yeah, so Amazon, of course, is the probably the most prevalent place people can get it. It's very easy and very simple. There's also it's online on Barnes and Noble, Apple Books, Kobo, all those kind of subsidiary online retailers.
Yeah.
But Amazon is probably the best and easiest place for people to get it.
That's great. And I've left a link in the description part of this interview for viewers
Oh,
who would love
nice.
to get a copy of the book via Amazon and other platform. So thank you so much, Ray and Crane, for accepting the invitation to be featured on English Literature. It's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you for your time, Peter. I appreciate your time as well.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you.
You as well,
So that
sir.
and that ends the interview.